Finally, anniversary is here for 2023, which is the 7th anniversary of Idle Heroes now, and if you've seen the title and thumbnail already, you already know that this one is a huge mix-up for the community. We're going to be delving into this from a standpoint for free-to-play players and for spenders, because the approach each of you groups are going to make this week is going to be completely different, or potentially the same, depending on how you look at this event. I personally feel like this event is both disappointing and incredible at the same time, and I know it's going to cause a lot of controversy for the community. I bet you if you scroll down and look at the comments section, if this video has been up for a few hours already, you'll see tons of people putting their opinions down below. So expect this one to be a fiery anniversary event for sure. However, there are loads of really positive things about it, which you guys can double down on to maximize your rewards, and also there's tons of things that you really shouldn't do, otherwise you're going to waste so much. So folks, let's jump straight into it. Before we do though, a shout out to Jet, who recently backed me on Patreon. If you want to be like Jet and support the content I make here, why not click that link up there in the top corner of the screen where you can get more information. For those that back me on Patreon, you get premium perks on Discord, and if you go into the description, you can find a link to our Discord community where you can learn about account reviews, which is something my patrons can enjoy on a Tuesday, where I look at things to do with your account and give you personal one-to-one advice. So if that's something you're interested in, definitely join us on a Tuesday and consider backing me on Patreon. Anyway, let's jump straight into this event because there are tons of things we need to cover. Every day for logging in, we're going to get ourselves 3 heroic summon scrolls and 150 gems. This is totally normal, and these will help you throughout the week. If you go to the cool events, we've got the standard stuff, Palace of Eternity. This lets you swap any of the 5 heroes you see here for a copy of Natalie, the new hero. Doing that might be worth it because Natalie is a light hero, and light and dark heroes are typically quite difficult to obtain, and she will become one of the newer Transcendence heroes. However, in the next Transcendence event, you will be able to select her as a hero, so I would recommend saving your Eternity Crystals and waiting for when we have more information on her. You get these crystals by doing 400 scrolls, and every 400 scrolls will get you 5, unless you buy the top packages, which are available for starry gems and dollars that give you these keys, and that will access the 15 below as well. Is that worth it? Well, those packs are always defined by what else is in them, and they are giving even more scrolls now than normal. This is probably going to stick around now for the future year. That's pretty cool, and actually getting these with starry gems might be really good, especially if you've got some contract starry gems lying around, or if you can consider that you can use the auction house to make things cheaper. However, I do imagine a lot of people at the moment, especially early into anniversary, are doing that trick in the auction house, so you might need to wait a bit, or maybe the auction house is going to be fully bought out already. Just be mindful that there's going to be a lot of people who are trying to use starry gems to go ahead and buy these really nice things, because it's giving us illusion pupils and anniversary treasure coupons, which are really, really good for this event, so lots of people might be using their starry gems for this. If you get a copy of Natalie, you get 4-star armor, and for summon prizes, which is where you can get Natalie, you can grab her as a reward for doing 400 heroic summons. There's also all the other bonuses here, including Prophet Orbs and heroic summon scrolls, along with these illusion pupils. Now, these illusion pupils we'll talk about later on, and why they're good, and perhaps why you might actually not want to get them. You get scrolls from here, Prophet Orbs, as I said, 200 gets you LOEs, which is really nice, 300 gets you the soul symbols, which are the most important resource tons of us really need, because lots of us are running low on them, and then, of course, for the top rewards, you're getting a core and some relics. You'll notice here too that they are giving these treasure coupons, and you get 4 of them for every 500 you do. That's 2 at 200 and another 2 at 500. In total, you can do this a total of 4 times. That's 2,000 heroic summon scrolls. Is that worth it though? Well, we need to look at the extra rewards for anniversary. But before we do, there is a hero exchange event which lets you pick up any of last year's heroes for a really reasonable price. I think 3,000 is actually pretty nice. So I'm actually just going to straight up grab all of these. As you can see, I have a ton of altar stones, but that's because I'm really, really late game, so I can safely destroy 4 stars and 3 stars and stuff, because I have not enough promotion stones, so that's one place I get my promotion stones from. Anyway, the anniversary event is where stuff really matters for you, and this is where we're going to spend a lot of our time focusing on whether this is good for you if you're a free-to-play player or a spender, and there are lots of little things we need to look at. First things first, and I really want to stress this, giving us 700 scrolls for logging in is bonkers. That's almost 90,000 gems worth of scrolls. This is crazily good value, so just make sure you log in every day and claim these scrolls. However, the majority of inexperienced and new players will probably use those scrolls straight away, trying to get some crazy rewards this event, because they think, oh, it's anniversary, of course this is going to be really good. However, believe it or not, and you've seen the thumbnail, you know it, this is garbage. This is a fancy way of basically trying to sugarcoat this event in a way that is different to what we normally get from like Transcendence events and stuff like that, to try and give us a new and interesting Heroic Summons event, but it has totally failed. The way it works is if you use 10 of these eyeball things, you are guaranteed to get one of these mirror shards, because the way it works is if you get 9 opened and you don't get a mirror shard on the 10th, you're guaranteed it. And you might say, well, what are the odds of picking up a mirror shard before you've done the 10? That's a perfectly reasonable question, but it doesn't say it anywhere in the game, at least not yet. The devs will be adding it in though, because I directly contacted the devs and were like, we need that percentage. And many of you would guess it's 10%, right? Wrong. It's 2.4%. There's a 2.4% chance of getting that shard from an open, which means there's less than a 20% chance that you get it from the 9 opens you do before you're guaranteed at 10. So in my opinion, you're just going to be opening it in 10 opens, right? That's just the way it is, and you might high roll once. Right, great. If you high roll, that's fantastic, but the likelihood of you high rolling is very, very slim. You need to go ahead and get all 7 of these mirror shards to complete the whole mirror. You get each of these rewards listed here. You can accumulate all 7 with all of those shards. That's kind of nice. There's some good rewards floating around. However, that's 70 of these eyeballs if you consider you only get 1 shard in 10. 70 eyeballs to complete the mirror. You better hope my rewards are good. Oh wait, you're getting just an artifact or a flag. You're also getting this treasure shard aromatic Zongzi, which you might look at and go, wow, that's a whole orange treasure train item. That's really cool. However, it's a fancy rare one for a special event, which let me just compare it to Hero Token, which is where typically the best ones are. Here you go. Here's the Soul Conjuring Flute. At base level, this is giving us 32,000 fixed attack and 5% crit damage reduction. Remember that number. Now let's go across to this one here, this egg thing. This is giving 6,000 attack, so way less, and 858,000 HP. This is garbage. It's also giving you control precision, but it's only in PvP game modes. Again, garbage. That is not going to help you in Realms Gate. It's not going to help you in Void Campaign. It's not going to help you in the Tower of Dreams. This is not going to help you in any of the PvE game modes people care about. And PvP is a messed up game mode that's just who's got the biggest treasure train, so it doesn't even matter. And if you do want a massive treasure train, you're not best getting this. You're actually best getting the other stuff available that's the normal stuff, like Hero Token or some of the crazy other stuff they've released recently, such as this, that gives all damage dealt to Transcendence heroes, or this mad one right here that gives crit damage for Transcendence heroes. By the way, this is God tier. We'll be talking about that in a second, because giving crit damage to a hero all the way up to 50% crit damage opens up some crazy stuff for a lot of Transcendence heroes. So that's really cool. And the fact it's only an orange is even better. But hold that for now, because the thing you're going to get if you engage with this event is this awful, awful egg that gives 5% control precision. And to make matters worse, I'm just going to say it now, the other top reward that they're giving away is this exquisite dragon boat. There is nothing exquisite about it. It is trash. It is giving you 3% control immunity offset only in PvP game modes. It gives an insultingly low amount of fixed stats when you compare it to other pink items available in the treasure train, and you'll realize very quickly that this is not a good artifact. And to make this one of the top rewards this week instantly makes Anniversary very dubious, in my opinion. Because if you look, it's the top reward if you whale this thing out. So yeah, I'm certain I don't want to grab that. And all I'm getting on top of that is a couple sublimation boxes. Completing this does not sound good. Now, if you're a free-to-play player, the way you can open this mirror, if you haven't already figured out, is with 70 of these eyeballs, maybe less if you high roll. You might remember you're only getting 16 of those eyeballs when you do your summon prizes, so you need to do a full 2,000 heroic summons to get 64 of them, which might not even be enough to get the first tier of rewards from saving Natalie. 2,000 heroic summon scrolls for one artifact is terrible value. Do not do that. Then some people might turn around to you and say, well, where else can I get those eyeballs? You can get them from here against the Bloodlust Rage Fenlier. Every time you do 20 damage to this boss, you get 10. Now, what's really weird about this is when you attack him, it'll take you into a screen. So to save me from wasting gems on my main account, allow me to show you how this works. First of all, we go ahead and attack the wolf. This then takes us to a screen where we want to follow where the wolf goes. So he's down here, he's across, he stays still, he moves back, he goes over there, he moves, he shifts, down, up, and there, we know he's over here. At this point, you have two options. You can either open it immediately, which ends this game mode and does 5 damage to him, or you can continuously open them and then eventually get all 7 mirrors opened to then do 20 damage to him. Each opening of a mirror costs 1,000 gems and has a chance to get you one of these rewards, and only 2/3 of them are actually good. 1/3 of those rewards right there suck, right? You don't need fine wood. You don't need hard rock. I don't need more 5-star heroes. Guild coins, I suppose they're all right, but you don't really need them. Skin shards are really not worth that many gems. Relics aren't that interesting. There's so many things here I'm just like, yeah, this stuff just isn't great. Yes, there's some nice stuff thrown in here, but typically the rewards aren't that fantastic. Also, you might look at that and go, oh, they look pretty good. But there's a multiplier on your rewards. If you only open the one mirror where the wolf is, you only get 50% of the rewards you've revealed, so you're actually getting less than you've invested in. This is dreadfully bad. I just don't understand why you would go ahead and waste your gems on this. So, for example, let's say I do go ahead and attack him. There you go. It's the wolf. I get 10 Master's Toolboxes. That's not that great. And it was only 10 because what I actually did was I high rolled 20, but with the 50% modifier, I only walked away with 10. You might say, hey, 10 Master's Toolboxes ain't that bad for 1,000 gems, but then you realize that only did 5 damage. For me to kill this guy, I have to do that another 39 times. 39. That's 39,000 gems just to get some really mediocre rewards and walk away with a terrible, terrible treasure train item. And then, of course, you're going to get those eyeballs for every 20 damage you do. Now, if you remember, you need 70 of those eyeballs to go ahead and get the top rewards. So really, you're only going to want to do 140 damage to this guy to get the rewards. 140 damage is still an astronomical 28,000 gems, and that's 28,000 gems to get yourself an artifact. If that sounds like something you want to do, go ahead. I understand why people would do that. Personally, I don't think that's good enough. Maybe you could really high roll though. Maybe you'll push ahead and you could even go further in and walk away with a Core of Origin. In that case, I suppose you could keep going with the wolf, picking him first time to spend the least amount of gems and try and high roll. And maybe you'll go ahead and push and you'll walk away with a Core of Origin. But if you don't, you're then going to have to use your scrolls to go and grab half of a Core of Origin to give yourself the extra eyeballs you need. For a lot of people, you might find that exciting, but from what I've heard from the majority of free-to-play players is you don't want half of a Core of Origin with your scrolls. You guys want sublimation chests, because sublimation chests give you progress with Transcendence heroes. Half of a Core of Origin, you really only need a Core of Origin for Starwing Jara and for Star Alchemist Holmes Young, and everything else on top of that is just added fluff, or maybe you want to make that Core of Origin slightly stronger. You don't really need high-end Core of Origins. It's only something really for big fat whales that want to maximize their progress. But you can make a lot of progress just with a Core of Origin for Starwing Jara and Star Alchemist Holmes Young, so in reality you only need 2, and you get 1 for free anyway from Void Campaign. So the main thing free-to-play players care about is sublimation, and that's not available here. So I know, and I will recommend to you, that actually if you're a free-to-play player, and you're sitting on a pile of scrolls, don't use them. Just say, no, not going to do this. I'm going to wait for an event that gives me sublimation for my scrolls, and I think that is much better for you. Yes, you could potentially spend a ton of gems to walk away with an artifact, but if that sounds like too much for you, and I understand why some people would argue that, then okay, don't do it. On the other hand, though, you are getting some bonus rewards on top of that, which might make it very tempting. There's Cores of Transcendence here, there's wood, there's Heroic Summon Scrolls, there's gems in return. And at that point, when I start seeing these bonus rewards, I start thinking, actually, yeah, I can understand why someone would spend 28,000 gems clicking on the wolf the first time to then go ahead and get yourself the rewards from here. You might even need to spend less than that. You might only need to use 60 of the eyeballs. So I would recommend probably only doing maybe 10 at a time, seeing how it goes. But do bear in mind it's 4,000 gems to get 10 of those eyeballs. So again, I'll show you an example here. We're going to follow the wolf around. So he starts there, he moves down, he moves across, he moves up, he moves back, he stays still, he goes over there, down, across, over there, stop. There's the wolf, open up. We found him again. Always follow him. We go ahead and get some fluorite, confirm, there you go, and that's 5 more damage. We'll do it 2 more times. Stay still, move across, up, down. Oh god, I think I've lost him. That was horrible. Now, if you're in doubt, screen record this when you do it, because I think he's here. No, I lost him, so I think he's over here. Found him. So there you go. That's what happens this time around. I managed to do 13 damage to him. I wasted a ton of extra gems because I couldn't find him. I did get a load more rewards, though. So some would say that's a good thing. And it's quite hard to follow it around all the time. So if you really want to use the least amount of gems to be able to do this and get these eyeballs, you're going to have to really, really concentrate or record the screen, because sometimes it'll do something weird where the images cross over, like what happened to me, and you might lose it. But anyway, now I've got 10 of these eyeballs, I can show you what these do, and typically you'll just search on here. You'll do single times, and the odds of you getting one of these shards, as I said earlier, is 2.4%. So it's very unlikely you get a shard early. If you do, you're really, really lucky. But like most people, what happened to me here, as I did 9 without getting one, so on the 10th, I am guaranteed to get the shard piece. As well, I managed to get some of these anniversary replacement coupons, which is actually pretty helpful, and I've also got myself some spirit there as well. So you basically get one of the random rewards from up here, along with one of the random rewards in here, fixed to 1 per each thing. You then take that shard, drag it across to the mirror, it then fits in, and once you've got all the shards, you go ahead and get yourself that artifact. So for a free-to-play player, you've got 2 options. Use the least amount of gems against this wolf to walk away with an artifact and some bonus rewards. I like that option. Or do nothing. Either way, I absolutely wouldn't use my scrolls. Either way, I would feel very, very, very dubious about using scrolls. The only way you maybe could use scrolls in a way that I think could be okay would be to potentially do 300 just to go ahead and get you 9 of these illusion pupils. That could be quite good because it's just saving you a little bit in gems. That's going to get you as well soul symbols, which are super valuable. It'll get you a core, and it'll get you some of these anniversary train coupons. All that said, though, perhaps it's better you just save your scrolls because there will be events in the future that give you sublimation. Now, in my opinion, if you've got gems and you're curious what to do with them, the wolf is not your number 1 option. This is the Zong-Z. This, in my opinion, is the greatest event DH Games have ever done. They've given it to us at Chinese New Year. It was nutty then, and they're giving it to us again during this event. What happens is every day you log in, you get 6 delicious Zong-Zs, and you can go ahead and buy more up to 50 times. I'm just going to buy 23 on this side account right here, and we're going to go ahead and open them all. And when you do, there is a chance you grab some of these eggs, and those eggs on the very end give you fancy top-end rewards, and we're looking at good stuff. We got Starspawn cores, we got Contract Starry Gems, we got Spiritual Essence, we got Glorious Relics. You can get cores from here, you can get Stellar Shards from here. There are tons of great rewards available for you to grab, and you get a number, a lucky number attached to each of those rewards, and if you are lucky enough, you will get yourself bonus rewards if that lucky number is drawn. There's going to be 1 lucky number drawn every day in the week, so that's 7 across the whole week, and those 7 lucky numbers will triple the rewards you pull. So let's say, for example, I get myself 2 cores of Transcendence. If my lucky number comes out attached to those, I instead get 6, not 2. But what's also really cool is for every single egg yolk Zong-Z you get a point. And if you get to 15 of those egg yolk Zong-Zs opened, you're going to get a C- crystal along with a treasure selection chest. And this treasure selection chest contains one of the best treasure train items I've ever seen. This picture frame right here. You get one of those chests, again, if you get 30 of them, 45, 60, 80, all the way up to 100. I don't like the 80 and 100s, because they're giving that really, really rubbish boat. This would be so much better if this was giving us a pink chest rather than this boat that's absolutely awful. The B stone, the B plus, the B minus, they're actually not good, because if you're someone who's going to spend money to push yourself up here, then you'd rather just spend that on story gems to buy the copies you want rather than awakening copies that already exist. If you think you're going to get an A tier from here, the majority of the time you won't. It's pure copium. The only thing that makes the 80 and the 100 really worth it is these multipliers, because you'll see, rather than getting the ×3 rewards, depending on the level you get different amounts of rewards instead. So rather than getting 6 if I get the lucky number on those cores, a ×4 means I get 8. If I get ×5, I actually get 10, and there's a ×7 and a ×10 as well. There are going to be whales who max this out to get to the ×10 just so they walk away with tons of cores, tons of stellar shards. This event was bonkers at Chinese New Year. It's going to be bonkers again. The way you get these Zongzis is by spending money. For every $4 spent, you walk away with one of those Zongzi things. That's terrifying because you can easily spend loads of money to pick up these Zongzis. The way I would look at it personally is you get them on top of other things you buy, and that for me is the incentive. It's just, hey look, if I see something that's good value, I can then know that I'm going to get even more in return because I'm going to walk away with Zongzis. And by getting them for free every day as well, you can potentially get 50 by buying them with gems, 42 across the week, so that's 92, and then bonus ones for spending, you're easily going to get tons and tons and tons. Now, you get the egg yolk ones in particular at 11 on a pity timer. So if you high roll early, that's really, really cool because then it resets the timer. So you might actually think in the worst case scenario, you're going to need to do 11 every single time. But if you pull it first time, then suddenly you've got one and that pity timer is reset. So actually you can probably end up high rolling quite a lot of those egg yolks. So yeah, there's chances that you low roll, there's chances that you high roll, but I think either way, if you're a free-to-play player or a spender, I would totally just throw all gems at this you possibly can to get as many of those Zongzis as possible, because the egg yolk ones, especially when you get the lucky number multipliers, are really, really good. And if you're lucky enough to hit this chest, you can get that picture frame, which I'll talk about now. This picture frame is seriously good because it gives crit damage to Transcendence heroes. And you might not realize why crit damage is so strong on heroes, but let me explain to you why it is. So let's say I have a bonus to crit damage. The way crit damage works is if you look in your hero's information, you'll have a total for it. 150% on this total sheet is as high as you can go to be receiving a bonus to crit damage. Typically, what you want is to get to around 130%, and then you get an extra 20% by running the Phoenix pet. That takes you to 150. What you can do with certain heroes is use things like imprint nodes to go ahead and improve their crit damage. You can give them stones like crit attack. Heck, you could even have a crit damage awaken on that hero. Further to that, there's even the Spirit of Trial, a star spawn that gives crit damage. Basically, there are tons of ways to put crit damage on heroes. But because the crit damage cap is 150%, it means that once you do overachieve that number, you don't need to invest in it anymore. If we can bump our crit damage up just by simply using the treasure train, it means instead of having to give my hero a crit attack stone to maximize my crit damage, I can instead give him something like speed crit or speed attack or speed precision, which means I get all the benefits of being fast whilst also having really, really high crit damage. That means speed crit becomes an incredible stone if it wasn't already for some of your really powerful Transcendence heroes. On top of that, you can run the Holy Damage Skill Damage Stone to get a massive boost to Holy Damage and to Skill Damage without hurting your crit damage at all, because thanks to that ticket available in the treasure train, you can then have all the crit damage that you could possibly need already on your hero. So getting the Holy Damage Skill Damage Stone becomes the best whilst also maximizing your crit damage at the same time. So the existence of this item opens up new, really powerful build options for Transcendence heroes, which I really, really like. And the fact it's only an orange means it's much easier to obtain than the typical super rare pink ones that they love to bring out. That's not to say this one that gives all damage dealt is bad. No, it's absolutely terrifyingly good, and it's really annoying that we have two now that give all damage dealt. I think that's a really egregious and shameful thing for the devs to do, just to keep releasing these things, because it just means whales turn into having a competition of who's got the most all damage dealt on their Transcendence heroes. But if you ignore that for a second, and obviously accept that, yes, there's going to be people with huge damage dealt totals, the fact that we're getting these treasure train things really does impact a lot of the stuff. So despite the fact that treasure train is kind of disgusting and how much you can spend on it is very dangerous, the stats you gain are really nice. Basically, if you want to get some extra crit damage for your heroes, the Zongzi is a really reliable way to do that if you hit that box. Now, maybe you don't hit that box. Well, there's another thing you can totally do. You can use these anniversary coupons, which will be quite hard to get because you get them for spending money. So every $6 you spend gets you one of these tickets. You can buy them from value packages as summon prizes. As we saw, you're getting 4 of them for doing 500 summons. And on top of that, there's the anniversary relay package as well that you can use, which we'll take a look at in a sec. All of that adds up to tons of ways to get those tickets, and this also gets you these orange chests for even more crit damage. So this week, for me as a spender, I'm just going to be maximizing ways that I can obtain these orange chests, because orange chests equals crit damage, and crit damage equals powerful Transcendence heroes. And if you do hit 100, you can go ahead and grab this camera right here that gives you all damage dealt. So it's a win-win. Just whatever you do, do not grab this stupid boat, because that boat is terrible. Next up, this is huge for free-to-play players, and another potential area to use your gems is you can go ahead and replace things. This is a great way of fixing heroes. Let's say you have an E5, for example, that you hate, or just maybe some 5-star copies, and you need to get somebody and you've run out of chests. You can swap any hero, like a Lutz, for example, into any hero you could possibly need. So let's say I want Geista. Is he available in here? Okay, no, Geista's a bad example. It looks like they haven't put him in. What about Ailemak? Is he available in here? Yeah, there you go. So I could swap a Lutz to an Ailemak. That's really, really cool. Let's say I wanted to go with Freya. There you go. Freya's in here too. So you can go ahead and turn bog standard boring heroes into fancy ones. That's going to cost you 50. But maybe that's not what you're interested in. Maybe you want to swap flags. You can swap a forest flag into a Transcendence flag. That's going to cost you 240. So maybe you invested in a flag and you've changed your mind. This is a great way to swap that. The way you get these tickets is by going ahead and doing the mirror shard opening. You might remember I managed to grab from here the 120 on my other account. So 120 is half of what I need to get that flag. But you can also buy them with gems. So if I wanted to go ahead and buy a flag straight out with gems for the swap, it can be quite expensive, 12,000 gems, but if you really do need to fix something, you can do that. Artifacts you can do as well. So let's take, for example, one of my Punisher of Immortals. I could swap this if I wanted to a golden crown, and that's going to cost me 320. Yes, that's a little more expensive, and in an ideal world, you haven't made mistakes with your artifacts, but sometimes you do get yourself something from the bond chest that you don't really need. Maybe you've got a wildfire torch that you need to get rid of. You can swap that for 16,000 gems to an artifact that's actually useful. That ain't that bad. But then again, if I was going to go ahead and spend gems to go and swap an artifact, at that point it might just be worth spending a few more gems on the Bloodlust Rage Fenrir and actually going ahead and getting yourself a completely different artifact from an artifact chest right here, and that way you have 2 artifacts rather than just swapping 1. If you can do both though, that's pretty cool. The other things we can swap are skins. So this is really strong. I know people, when they get festival limited skins and they're like, I don't know what to do with them. Well, you can totally swap a festival limited skin that you don't want. Like, for example, this Valentine's Day Godfather Lutz skin, I could swap into Mockman's skin. Wow, that's huge. Or maybe you already have Mockman's skin and you want the best skin for his tenants. So you go ahead and get Forcus's skin so that you've got an argument to use Forcus as a tenant instead of Mockman as a tenant. So there's some really cool things you can do here if you guys want any skins in particular. And that's not just the only way you can get skins this event. We've got the memory echoing, where there's going to be this coupon that you can pick up, and yes, you can spend gems to buy these as well. Lots of things to spend your gems on this week. 50 of these is going to cost you 5,000 gems. That's going to be any skin that's festival limited available here. That's pretty cool. It's a lot of festival limited skins. You've got Star Alchemist Holmes Young's skin. For some people, that's cool. That's attack HP damage reduction. You've got Lord of Fear Aspen's one. This gives crit damage. And we've already talked about how getting crit damage maxed out on your hero is very helpful because it gives you options to use other stones instead. So good to see crit damage skin available to you guys as well. There's a Sword Flash skin. There's Eos's skin. There's Asmodel's old skin. There's a lot of skins here, and I'm sure you might find something you want, whether it's for a skin bond, a tenant, or maybe for a really cool hero that you're using such as a Lord of Fear Aspen. As well, if you've got any of the old heroes that were released during Anniversary, there's just a cute little extra reward you can get. So if you've ever had a Mockman, you get an Eos. If you've ever had an Andrea, you get a Holmes Young. If you've got Drake and Russell, you get an Aspen. If you've got Penny and Amon-Ra, you get an Asmodel, and you get some additional artifact stuff here. This is really good. An artifact fragment's nice to get for free. That's Mim and Belrain that give you that. And Michelle and Dasmogue give you 6-star armor. It's just free rewards. It's not much. It's just cool free stuff. Accept it. It's nice. Moving on, we've got these packages you can pick up. These are going to give you amounts of things depending on your level for 15 days. You can get Celestial Island resources. This is very good. I think that's an instant buy for most people. Best 5,000 gems I've ever spent. Thank you very much. The higher your level, the even better that gets. You've got this next one. That's 777 Contract Starry Gems. A little bit harder to justify, but that is going to get you sublimation materials. Now, depending on your level, you might get a lot. You might not get that much. But do bear in mind, unless you have 45,000 of a particular sublimation material, you can't do anything with it. But there are options to get more of these things, such as from the Starland Arena, where you can actually buy even more Essence Sublimation. And on top of that, you can as well, from Void Campaign, choose a particular Essence to go ahead and grab. So there are many ways to even out the wonky totals of Sublimation you will be getting by buying that pack. And finally, if you want to spend a bit of cash this week, and this is great for budget players, you're going to walk away with some Contract Starry Gems. That's 1,500 Contract Starry Gems for 15 bucks. That's insane. You're getting a bunch of Glorious Relics, so that can really help you for artifacts. And as well, you're getting 15 Master's Toolboxes every day for 15 days. I know for a lot of budget players, Celestial Island resources are such an issue because Master's Toolboxes are the one thing you're struggling on. This can really help you. So if you just chuck $15 at the game, 225 Master's Toolboxes plus 1,500 Contract Starry Gems, yeah, that sounds like a good deal. And finally, on the topic of good deals, we have this Relay Pack, which has people absolutely losing their minds. There are different tiers of spending that are getting you the usual gems and heroic summon scrolls, but they're chucking delicious Zhongzi on this as well. Bear in mind, for every $4 that you spend, you're getting another Zhongzi in return, so this is going to stockpile fast on the number of Zhongzis you get. So you're going to get, for $5, 500 gems, plus heroic summon scrolls, plus 2 Zhongzis, plus even more Zhongzis for free afterwards, plus heroic summon scrolls, plus cores, then for an extra $1, 2 more, plus 10 scrolls, plus 500 gems. It starts to get real crazy in the next one as you're starting to get illusion pupils and more gems, scrolls, and Zhongzis, with extra free rewards as well, giving you 12 cores, 1,500 gems, and 5 more Zhongzis. Carrying on, more cores, more Zhongzis, more gems, with more gems, more cores, more Zhongzi, 10 more illusion pupils, the free stuff here. Why don't you have a Glory Epic chest? That contains Geista, by the way. On top of that, you're getting 5 delicious Zhongzi and 30,000 artifact essence. Really nice. That's going to help with splendid artifacts. Then comes the big stuff. For $50, which means at this point you've spent $93 in total, you get 5,000 gems, 100 relics, 15 cores, 500,000 stellar shards, 10 Zhongzis, 15 of the illusion pupils, and the brand new skin for Geista, which is awful stats. Attack, control, immunity, crit. It's stupid. This should be something like attack, damage reduction, crit damage or something. It's really unusual. But hey, he looks like the golden Power Ranger now, so yeah, it's dumb. I hate it. Either way, maybe Geista's a hero you like, so there you go. But everything else in here is really nice. And then the free pack right afterwards is giving you even more gems, even more relics, even more cores, and even more stellar shards. That's 1,000,000 stellar shards. That's bonkers. Plus 10 more Zhongzi. Add to that 70 bucks, which is getting you more gems. It's getting you spiritual essence. It's getting you 18 anniversary treasure coupons. That's really good. With 15 Zhongzi, which obviously is going to help you get more egg yolk Zhongzis, which then gets you even more rewards. And by spending, you get even more Zhongzi on top of that. Plus 26 illusion pupils. And then for free, you're going to walk away with 15 more Zhongzis, 18 more treasure coupons, plus a sublimation chest, and more gems. You get the picture. This stuff is wild. The only bit that leaves me scratching my head is the final one, which is $100. Yes, it's 40 illusion pupils, 20 Zhongzi, 30 anniversary coupons, and a mysterious artifact selection chest, plus 10,000 gems, but it just doesn't feel as good value as the one that just came before. So I don't think I would get that top one if I was like trying to look for an optimal way to spend. I'll think about it, but I think $100 is a bit much to ask. I know there's a new artifact in this, but the new artifact doesn't excite me. But when you look at all the other stuff, I mean, these are the rewards. There's really nice cutoff points. So you can go into this at any level because it's good value regardless where you stop. So I think find a price point you like and go in on it, because this relay is absolutely fantastic. And if you don't want to spend, you don't have to. But the more you do spend this week, the better the rewards compound. Every $4 gets you a Zong-Z reward, and every $6 gets you a treasure train coupon. So that stuff can add up fast if you're a heavy spender. So all in all, Anniversary is giving us heaps of ways to get rewards, but with plenty of things here to try and trip you up. Free-to-play players should approach this wolf with caution, only doing it if you do value spending gems for an artifact. I totally think using scrolls is a dangerous thing, as it doesn't give you sublimation, so in fact I think it's a hard pass on scrolls, which is actually really good, because it means the 700 scrolls you save up, you can wait for a Transcendence event, which is probably going to happen in a month, where you can put those scrolls to better use, and in the meantime, all those gems we've managed to save up will result in a ton of progress, and hopefully you guys can get that crit damage treasure train item, which I think is one of the best treasure train items we've ever had. And regardless of your spending point, I think all your attention this week should be around maximizing the Zong-Z rewards. And if you're a free-to-play player or a spender, I think when you do go ahead and engage with this particular game mode right here, I would do so with caution when it comes to using scrolls, because spenders have tons and tons of reliable ways to pick up illusion pupils. I know also you can grab them with starry gems here, which is super duper useful. You've got the value packs there as well, so perhaps using scrolls might actually not even be worth it when you consider all the different ways that you can get good value this week. And yeah, as you scale these rewards up, the one issue is there's no sublimation in the first two rewards, and that's really how far a free-to-play player is going to get. But on the third reward, you do get sublimation as an option, and maybe you'll high roll as a free-to-play player, but that's very unlikely. And then in the later stuff, it's a bit of a trip-up. You're getting this mysterious artifact selection chest, which gets you the new artifact, I suppose, and that's probably what I'll choose, but doesn't really excite me too much. The kindness mirror, that's great. That's giving you sublimation and half a core. I like cores personally for myself. The passion mirror, again, more cores and sublimation opportunities. I think the other two are a hard skip. And then the wisdom mirror, which again is getting you a chance for either of those things. And if you do max this out as a spender, then congratulations, because spenders are going to walk away with then the additional top reward here, which is even more of the essence sublimation or a core of origin or spiritual essence. I think spiritual essence is a huge waste. I think this boat's terrible, but heck, maybe you're in it just for the core. Regardless, there's tons of ways to enter this event, and maybe you'll get a ton of eyeballs. I don't know. It really depends how much you're prepared to whale. And I think, ironically, those eyeballs are just additional stuff on the side to these treasure coupons, because for most people, the real value, especially if you're a spender, is coming from the Zong-Z, these chests, and also the treasure coupon, cashing in for even more of these chests to get yourself the treasure rewards. So yeah, tons of ways for spenders to stockpile their treasure train and also get rewards from this event, such as the new artifact or cores and sublimation. For free-to-play players, different ways of entering it, the majority of which will use gems. I would refrain from using scrolls, and hopefully all that makes sense. I did not expect an anniversary event to come up that was going to be so gem heavy and then also be probably bad for scroll use, but that happens sometimes. Unless, of course, you value half a core of origin, but personally, I think sublimation is much better for you guys. I know this was a huge video, so thank you for sitting through it, and if you found this informative and helpful, hit that subscribe button and consider dropping a comment below. I will be making a follow-up video to this about Natalie and whether I think she's good in the future, but really, most of you should just consider we don't know whether she's going to be good until she's a Transcendence hero, because any hero that's just normal these days is too balanced to actually be abusable as a normal E5. Long gone are the days of heroes like Ignis, Olivia, Gurk that we can just abuse with their powerful abilities, and it looks like this hero is not going to be that exciting. More on her to come. Anyway, I'll see you next time, folks. Thanks for joining us, and yeah, hit that subscribe button for more event reviews every Friday. Until then, though, have a good week, and happy idling.